May the 4th was on Saturday. So it was Star Wars Day, right? Because May the 4th be with you. So Joe Biden hosted Mark Hamill to the White House, just reminding you how long ago Star Wars was, because Mark Hamill is also now an aged human. Mark Hamill is now 72 years old, and he looks old. He's 8 years younger than the current president of the United States.
May the 4th be with you. Always.
Oh, dude. And then Mark Hamill went to the White House press room where he proceeded to take questions. I mean, the first question he should take is, why The Last Jedi? Why? 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 Okay, apparently he's joined the dark side by this outfit. I'm not sure who told him this was a good combo, but here we go.
I just wanted to say I was honored to be asked to come to the White House to meet the president, the most legislative successful president in my lifetime. And, you know, I don't have to go through the list, the bipartisan infrastructure law, the PACT Act, the CHIPS Act, all of that, inflation, 15 million jobs. Look, it's all good. I mean, I was really thrilled to meet the entire staff because, you know, it's not just one person. It's like a composite endeavor. And all these people, my goodness, you know, I mean, I have no idea. I had no idea just what went into what is on his plate on a daily basis.
Who's more of a fool, the fool or the fool who follows him? My goodness. That's what the White House got for you. Do you owe back taxes or still have unfiled returns? Not only is owing back taxes stressful, the IRS has also become more determined than ever to come after you. The IRS's chief data and analytics officer revealed they are focused on an enforcement project with an average return on investment of about $6 for every $1 spent. They're targeting individuals and businesses that currently owe back taxes or haven't filed their returns first. Tax Network USA is the nation's leading tax relief firm. They know the tax code. They will fight for you. With a record of negotiating over $1 billion in tax relief for their clients, their team is knowledgeable in handling any type of tax issue. Whether you owe 10 grand or 10 million bucks, they can help. Even if you don't have all your personal or business records from over the years, they can get you filed up to date. Facing the IRS without a professional is not a smart move. Contact Tax Network USA for the best strategic advice to help reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. Call today, 1-800-245-6000, or visit their website at tnusa.com/Shapiro. They'll give you a free private consultation on how you can settle your tax debt today. That's tnusa.com/Shapiro. Again, tnusa.com/Shapiro. According to Politico, President Biden has been dogged for months by pro-Palestinian protesters calling him Genocide Joe. But some of the groups behind the demonstration received financial backing from philanthropists pushing hard for his re-elect. And herein lies the rub. Joe Biden is not going to cut off his funders. Joe Biden is being paid by the same people who are paying for these protests. This is why Jonathan Chait, who's on the left, has a piece over at New York Magazine talking about how Joe Biden is running for the wrong voters, that in Michigan, he is not losing Michigan because of the Gaza issue. He is losing Michigan because of inflation. As Jonathan Chait points out, earlier this year, national pundits began connecting Joe Biden's poor standing in the presidential election with the revolt on his left over his policy in Gaza. Michigan was the epicenter of the crisis. Polls seem to indicate Biden's unpopularity was especially acute there. There is no longer any evidence this is true. The polling average shows that far from having a Michigan problem, Michigan is Biden's best swing state, or at least his least bad one. At the moment, he's trailing by 0.3 points in Michigan, a smaller deficit than Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, or the Sun Belt states. Yet even though Biden turns out not to have a specific Michigan problem, the broader narrative has calcified. It's true that Biden is disproportionately shedding non-white Democrats to Trump, but that is totally consistent with the fact that black and Latino Democrats are more moderate than white Democrats. What about the angry youth? A Harvard youth poll asked voters aged 18 to 29 to rank 16 issues in terms of importance. The Israel-Palestine conflict ranked 15th. So why is Joe Biden doing this? Again, the polling data does not support what he is doing. As a matter of politics, it is incredibly stupid to steer away from the center where Joe Biden needs votes. The answer is he wants the cash. He is being paid by the same exact people. His campaign is being funded by the same exact people who are funding all of these protests. As Politico points out, the donors include some of the biggest names in Democratic circles: George Soros, Rockefeller, Pritzker, according to a Politico analysis. Two of the organizers supporting the protests at Columbia University and on other campuses are Jewish Voice for Peace and If Not Now. These are both radical groups, and they're both supported by the Tides Foundation, seeded by George Soros, and was previously supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Soros declined to comment, The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation said it no longer has active grants to Tides and does not support JVP, or if not now. David Rockefeller Jr. sits on the board of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. In 2022, the fund gave $300,000 to the Tides Foundation. Tides has given $500,000 over the past 5 years to Jewish Voice for Peace, which explicitly describes itself as anti-Zionist. Jewish Voice for Peace is a front group that is directly aimed at destroying the state of Israel, with a few nutters in the Reconstructionist Jewish movement or unaffiliated who bring out their as a Jew card every so often so that they can say terribly anti-Semitic things, and then people will ignore that they're saying terribly anti-Semitic things. Several other groups are involved in the pro-Palestinian protests and are backed by a foundation funded by Susan and Nick Pritzker, heir to the Hyatt Hotel empire, and supporters of the Biden and numerous Democratic campaigns, including $6,600 to the Biden Victory Fund a few months ago and more than $300,000 during the 2020 campaign. So why exactly are all of these funds giving money to JVP? Why are they doing all of that? The answer is because the left believes that these are the leaders of the future, just as the old crazies took over the campuses in the 60s and then became the powerhouses and the administrators and the faculty. Well, now they are hoping to build a new Democratic Party on the back of the radicals. And Joe Biden is too weak to actually do anything about it, which is, again, political malpractice, because you can see that nobody likes these people. At University of Michigan, for example, they held a graduation over the weekend. And pro-Hamas protesters showed up to try and disrupt. And here was the crowd's response when those protesters were removed.
I can't hear anything.
The police take these people away, and everybody's very excited. Because it turns out no one likes these jackasses. No one likes them. They think they're bad people because they are bad people and they believe bad things. But Joe Biden refuses to dissociate. As proof of this, Mitch Landrieu, who's the Biden national co-chair, was asked specifically on national TV over the weekend about distancing himself from protesters. Joe Biden distancing himself from the protesters, and he wouldn't do it.
You see different campuses handling this in a different way, and finally you see some campuses doing this better than others. The president has been very strong about this from the beginning. And the president came out the other day, and as he said, as he has always said, he understands that people have a right to protest, but they have to do so peacefully. But when it turns violent, that's when things have to end. You're going to have a university president on after you have me on, and they're going to continue to work through this. But the president has been very clear about this. He's also been very strong about the need to stamp out anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. It's a very difficult time, very passionate opinions on both sides of this issue. The president has been handling it, I think, very, very well, and he's going to continue to do so.
Okay, so he won't distance himself from the protesters. By handling this very well, it's hard to imagine Joe Biden handling this worse. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.